This is TWiT.
I have pledged to myself, since no one else is
Self?
asking, don't buy any computers until Apple Silicon comes out. Because then I'm going to want to go crazy. I can't wait.
Yeah. Don't even look at the new iMac, Leo. Just don't turn.
You love it, don't you? I saw your review on YouTube. You think it's great.
So for what I do, like the combination of the Nano-texture display, which I only got to try it out last WWDC during the event. I haven't lived with one because I just can't spend that much money on a display. But this iMac with it, it's latest generation Intel, which is the same as last generation Intel, but it's got way better AMD graphics, a way better camera with a back illuminated sensor and an A11 series or an A10 series image signal processor. Camera looks great, but that Nano-texture display that big on top of P3 color gamut and Retina like 5K, it is the best screen I have ever seen, and I have an LG OLED across the room from it.
But how do you not touch it?
Alone. I know, right?
I won't touch it. No, Lory keeps telling me to. I'm not. She's like, how does it feel? I'm like, I will never know.
I want to touch one so bad.
What would happen? You're not even allowed to clean it normally. You have to use a special...
No, you are. I asked. They said like you can. They give you a cloth with it, and you can use a microfiber cloth. They're just saying that it will degrade over time if you're not careful with it. So use a microfiber cloth. You can use water. You can even use display cleaner, but be gentle with it. Act like it costs an extra $500 is I think the takeaway message here.
Will there be issues with Apple Silicon though? Maybe I should just go out and get that new iMac.
Oh, you're just trying to convince yourself to get it now.
Well, I do. There's two things that are unique. I mean, besides the fact you get 10th generation Intel Silicon, which I've had.
It's the same as 9.
I've had. Who cares?
It's the same as 9. Just you can get 2 extra ports if you want them. It's only different.
I've been there, done that. Got the T-shirt. But the better camera, right? And you said it's a lot better. Like it's not just 1080p
and the microphones. Better. It's 1080p with Apple's image signal processor behind it, and they make one of the best image signal processors in the business.
Is that going through the T2?
The T2 is essentially an Apple A10, the same chip that was in the iPhone 7, and they're doing everything. They're doing white balancing, they're doing face detection for the focus, and also they moved the illumination behind the sensor, so it produces a much cleaner image.
Okay, so that's one selling point, and then there's this matte screen, which is a $500 upsell, just to get the laser.
Well, they got to have a little robot go in there and texture it nanally, Leo. It doesn't texture itself.
Well, that's an interesting question. How do they make the Nano-texture
lasers?
Screen? Really?
I believe
they send little mice in to nibble at it.
I know it's Keebler elves,
string
but
cheese down.
What is the technology?
But it works really well because like the traditional way of doing a matte is a layer on top of the screen, and it does diffuse light, but it does it at the expense of contrast. And what this is doing is making an irregular surface, so the light is not bouncing off clean. It's sort of scattering it instead of diffusing it. So you will see light on it, but it'll be like this just lighter diffuse area instead of like these big, like you will never see your window on the screen.
Yeah, this is
a lot of Dieter.
Dieter with his original iMac 720p camera compared to the new iMac. I know it's not worth buying a whole new computer just for that, right? You could just. Well,
this camera I have here is $200. It's the 4K Logitech Brio, and I don't look like me on it. But on the iMac camera, I have my skin tone, and it handles the colors way better. It exposes way better, so I'm way happier with that than I am with this $200 Logitech right now.
Here's his image of the screen with glare. And then on the left, the Nano-texture, and that's
a big difference.
That's exactly it.
That makes me want to just buy a new iMac just for that screen.
And touch it though,
I know that's a ridiculous thing to do, but God, it's gorgeous. Yeah. Look at that.
I want it on the MacBooks.
Sorry, Andy, go ahead.
On Apple Silicon MacBooks.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I was just going to button what you said by saying that it's essentially the camera has gone from totally sucks to good.
Yeah, I know.
It's really realize that one of the hallmarks of Apple has always been absolutely sucky webcams. So it's nice. It's nice that they realize that people actually use these damn things. It's not just a hole they can just drill into the face of it and just keep putting nothing behind it.
And you make such an interesting point there too, because Apple has always really prided itself on how good its camera is on an iPhone, and it's actually one of the early computers to have a built-in webcam. yet they never really did much with it. It's been kind of a crappy webcam all along.
As I remember, even the iSight, the old standalone camera, wasn't that good.
No.
Well, I mean, it might have been for the time.
I mean,
of era,
for the time, it was great, right? But yeah, I mean, mostly the engineering has been behind how small can we make a potato?
Yeah.
And can we slip it behind that bezel? You know?
Yeah. So I have the iMac Pro, which does have a 1080p camera. It has a better camera in it. Yeah. And I've used it. It's not great. The best thing, the best thing is if you can get something like the Elgato capture dongle and use a good
if you're
camera.
Alex Lindsay.
Well, no, I'm going to do. That's what I'm doing. I'm using the A7, my Sony A7, with the Elgato. Well, actually, I don't have. The problem, unfortunately, is Elgato's been wildly sold out of the Cam Link. I think it's now back.
Because that's what I'm using.
I can use an A10.
I just don't have a power cable, so I can't use it for MacBreak because the battery doesn't last long enough.
You have an A10, but you're running it via the battery?
No, my Canon EOS R.
Oh, that makes more sense.
I never got a power cord for it, so I can't run the camera long enough.
It is annoying. There's a few things you have to do. You have to get I bought a dummy battery that goes in the battery slot.
Yes.
And then has a power line coming out of it, and you could plug that in the wall. You also have to be able to get clean HDMI out, which I'm able to do on the Sonys. Your Canon you can do that with as well.
Yeah.
Your Canon has the ability and firmware to do it over USB, but I don't think that's a good choice. And it didn't work until recently with the Mac, so
Yeah, a lot of those are getting those updates though, which is nice. Finally, that's one of the big capital F finallys.
Yeah.
So my Olympus finally got that upgrade just 2 months ago, and it's a 5-year-old camera. So if you have an older camera, by all means check for new firmware.
Yeah. USB is never going to be quite as good though as the HDMI out on a lot of cameras, and of course, don't forget.
I mean, the new USB's probably got the bandwidth for it, doesn't it? I mean, like the new one's going to have DisplayPort 1,
But does your camera have even USB 3?
Oh no,
probably not.
God, you're right. Yeah, it's the other end. The problem's on the other end.
Problem is the camera. And so ideally you'd be able to get a clean HDMI out of it. You can get that little power adapter. The Cam Link, I'm told, is now back on sale from Elgato. So that's the easiest choice. You see it as HDMI in. You'd also have to get a mini or micro HDMI to full-size HDMI cable. Plug that into the USB port. But I have also found on Amazon, in fact, somebody got one. Was it Micah or somebody got one? We're going to try a bunch of them. If you look for the Cam Link, you'll see there's a bunch of knockoffs, Chinese knockoffs that are a lot less expensive. The Cam Link's expensive, over $100. So I'm going to try one of these cheap Chinese knockoffs and see.
And they just announced a new ATEM last week too, the ATEM Live or something. I forget what the name is.
Yeah.
They announced a brand new ATEM as well, which looks really good.
This is the Blackmagic Design hardware switchers, and I have the Mini, which is $300. There's the ATEM Mini Pro, which is $600. How much is the Live? It's got to be more, right?
I can never tell because they're smaller or bigger and more expensive or less expensive, Leo, and I get very confused. I assume it'll handle their new 12K camera because that's a thing now too.
Yeah. Let's see. The ATEM, I'm looking at B&H. Oh, no, it's only $300. So maybe this is the one I have then. What's nice about this is it has software. You can do a green screen. So, and this has the Cam Link equivalent inside. You put HDMI into it from the camera, and
it's got a good
USB
key, like an Alex Lindsay
really good
key.
Yeah.
Just be aware. They have I believe the less expensive version is capped at 1080. Meaning it'll take 4K inputs, but will only give 1080 output.
That's one advantage of the new ATEM Mini Pro, which is, I guess it'll do. Will it? I don't know. I'm so confused. And then there's, and Blackmagic's kind of cool. Yeah, it is 4K compatible, but I can't see what the output is.
They're like actualized nerds. It's like if a bunch of nerds had the ability to make a company and put out what they wanted to. That's exactly what Blackmagic feels like.
You can record, and I do record using one of Blackmagic's recorders. So I imagine if you could take 4K in, you could record 4K. You might need that instead of using the USB port to your computer, because all of these end up looking like a USB webcam. That's how they work. Yeah. They take HDMI and turn them into a webcam. You can also do this with your phone, your iPhone. There's good software out there that will turn your iPhone into a webcam, right?
I've never tried it, but I've seen it.
I think the problem is that some of this streaming services, like Zoom and
like it.
Hangouts and things like that, they don't play friendly with it.
So the Epic Cam which is I think the one Micah might use. EPOC cam works with Zoom, Teams, and Skype. So yeah, this is it.
Yeah,
these virtual cams have always had a little bit of an issue. So that's on the App Store. Good news is it's free. So Epic Cam, EPOC. There's iPhone and there's iPad version. And now that the new iPad Pro has a decent camera, maybe that's a good solution.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can use the iPad's microphone, which probably sound better than a lot of other microphones. I don't know how we went down this rabbit hole. Where were we?
We're talking about how bad
the new
webcams usually are on the new Mac.
Yeah, the new Mac. Okay.